All right, welcome back to the KnivesFAST channel, guys. Say hello to Ren and Stimpy and Powder Toast Man and Login TV. Let's get started. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the KnivesFAST channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because we have a lot of fun here and there's so much more to come. This is a knife that comes by way of our buddy Alex from 814 EDC. If you do not follow Alex, please check him out. I will have a link to his channel down in the content. Alex is a young guy, but he's really picking it up and doing a great job. Now, this is an interesting knife. This is the Qvist, because the guy's name is Jacob Lundquist. Qvist, I guess you'd say, Qvist Variant. If we do it by his name, that's what I'm going to say. That's what we're going to call it, the Qvist Variant. PE, which is production edition. He does a custom version of this as well. Now, let's start off by saying I have some interesting thoughts on this knife. I've talked about it a couple times in my live streams, and there's one thing about this knife that just doesn't feel right and kind of bugs me. But I gotta say, the more I've carried this knife and used it and cut with it, I like this knife a lot. There's a lot to love about this knife, 100%. But there's just one thing that makes it a non-starter for me, as far as me owning one. And you'll have to decide if that means anything to you. Now, these are currently not available. They've been at Knife Joy. They've been at his website, Qvist Blade Works. They've been at Urban EDC Supply, and they're running right around $70, $69. This is obviously JG10. They are not available right now, but I'm sure he will be dropping more as popular as they've been. And by the way, as popular as they've been might mean that nobody else cares about the issue that I have with it, but we shall see. So the pocket clip is right side only. It has that cutout in the scales there for the pocket clip. The screws do stick out rather than being flat. By the way, this is manufactured by QSP in China, which I dig and very well done. I like the clip, the choice of the clip, nice deep carry clip, good rigidity to it, kind of stays nice. And I mean, it's just a good clip. It goes in well, it comes out well, it holds on well. All the things a clip should do. Flat pivot, which I really dig, which means nothing is really sticking up. None of these screws are. Nice and chamfered, really well done on all of those items. Now, let's give her a flick, I should say. And there is the blade, 14C28N. Really cool satin finish in the vertical, vertically done. And then it's horizontal up here on the flat. Nice and chamfered and rounded on the spine and comes down to a nice pointy tip, which is great for those tasks that a lot of people like, Wharncliffe's for, but for me, this does it, man. It does have, it is a Wharncliffe, by the way, but it does have that kind of sweep there to the blade. I dig that. You do have a nice sharpening choil, a good plunge grind. I like the shape of the hole, kind of this pill-shaped, if you will. You got the Qvist, whatever it is, logo there. 14C28N there. Really beautiful, hold on, grind. Comes down nice and thin and slicey. We'll talk more about that in a minute. You do have, and again, we'll talk more about this in a minute. Trust me, if you've seen my lives, you know it's coming. But you can get in there and activate that lock bar pretty well. You just kind of put your finger there and slide it across. I wish it stuck up just slightly more, just like barely, but it's not a problem. It sticks up enough, and the blade and the bar moves easy enough where you can do that. Now, as far as lockup, it's 20 or 30, plenty. No lock rock, no blade play, no anything like that. Really well done. No skeletonization inside, just flat inset liners, beautifully done. It is open blow-through design. You do have a couple of standoffs back here. One of those is tied into one of the clip screws. You can see right there. And the other one is just going through the barrel spacer. Words are important. I do believe this is running on bearings. I can't really, the tolerances are pretty tight on this one, but I'm 99% sure. I'll see if it lists it here. No, it says washers. Oh. Oh, no, it says ceramic cage bearings. I'm sorry. That's interesting. On Knife Joy, it says washers, ceramic cage bearings. So it's like, is it both? No, it's just telling you the type of pivot is ceramic cage bearings. There's how the blade stop works right there. So it's an external blade stop with a notch in the blade. Very cool. And as far as action, guys, perfect for middle finger flicking, and it wants to drop, okay? It's a shake shut, but you can see when you activate that lock bar, it wants to go down, and it's one little shake. Nice, smooth action. Really nothing there to talk about now. As far as thumb, it's a little harder to get your thumb in there, but you definitely can do it. It's just, for some reason, your thumb is fatter. So it's just a little, but I think that's with any knife, really. All right, so what have we not talked about yet? We have not talked about ergonomics. We haven't talked about the fit of this guy in the hand. Now, we'll talk about, matter of fact, let's do the specs first. All right, because I think that's important. We need to talk about the specs, and then we'll go from there. So this guy is 6.97 inches overall. I brought out one of its cousins here. This is the QSP Penguin. For those of you that know the Penguin, yeah, pretty much the exact same size as the Penguin. It's interesting. Now, you do have that sway back, kind of going on here with the handle that goes up into your palm there. And obviously that same kind of thing going on there. So it's a different shape, but man, is it a lot like the Penguin, except the Penguin's a thumb stud, obviously. So I thought that would be a really good comparison because a lot of you know the size of that. Now it's 6.97 inches. The handle is 3.99 inches. The blade is just under 3 inches at 2.98. The weight is just 3.25 ounces. So again, you didn't really need a bunch of skeletonization on those liners. Flat ground, liner lock. The blade thickness is 116 of an inch. So just under 0.12, which is, thin and slicey and very, very good. Now, I'm really digging this. By the way, the clip is just bare stainless steel. It is tip up, and it's only right-hand carry. So there you go. Very, very cool. Now, he also makes a bunch of custom editions of this. And you know what? I haven't talked about cutting, but I'll probably do a little cut test at the end here, and we'll do that. So here's the thing. All right, so here's my thing. So you have this. If you watched my Kaiser Cormorant view, this is going to sound like lather, rinse, repeat. You got this kind of squared off hole in the handle. Now that squared off hole is for access to that hole and to make the knife sleek. And I get exactly 100% why he did this. It makes total sense to me that it's there. But for me, it would have been better to have it kind of rounded, because what happens here for me, again, your hand and your carry may vary, but because this is kind of squared off here, now when I'm in this grip, it's fine because that finger fits in the right fashion. Okay, so my orientation is right, but now my fingers are not completely on. I'm kind of barely on my pinky, and I'm kind of way backed up. Now, I like the thumb here. I like that there's no jimping. It's perfect. It feels good. By the way, nice grippy G10. This is going to be a longer video, by the way, guys, so sorry. But when I choke up, okay, there's a couple of things. Number one, I have to get way up here right to the sharpening choil in order to get this finger in here flat, okay? So now I do have that same fit of my second finger as I did from my first finger, and it feels good. But for me, I want to be back here a little bit. I don't want to be right up on that sharpening choil because I'm going to cut myself. I'm a klutz, okay? So now what happens is my finger is laying right on that hump. And when I bear down and do any cutting at all, that does not feel good to me. Same thing I said with the Cormorant. Now, the thing is, you end up in this kind of staggered grip with your fingers kind of twisted a little bit, and that's what's doing that. It's landing right on that for me to be comfortable up here and not be too close to that blade. If you're, somebody that likes to risk that, then fine. You can get this finger in here and you can just lay that one up there. But now you have no control with this finger at all. My opinion, everybody's going to have a different opinion with it. If I had this knife, I would always hold it in this grip. I just would. And that feels decent. I just don't like this finger kind of hanging off the end. I would love to be up here. It's just not a good grip for me. It doesn't feel comfortable either all the way up like that, and it doesn't feel comfortable at all when I'm back like this because it's pinching me. But that's just me. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to clear some of this off, and we're going to do a couple of cut tests. Now, remember, this is Alex's knife. I have no idea how much he's used it. I've cut with it a little bit, and it did very well because it's thin and slicey. So let's give it a try, and I'll be back. All right, we're going to try some paper cutting, guys. Here we go. I am so bad at this, you know that. There we go. There we go. So it's definitely a good sharp knife. I'm struggling. The thing is, like I said, this came from Alex. I think he's used it. So one of the things you saw in some of the cutting was this, that we didn't get quite through on the tip test. Down on the cardboard. Let's just try a little bit more. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't want to pierce that first edge of the cardboard. So my guess is Alex has used this a bit for basically cutting stuff out or cardboard or whatever. And it just, it isn't as sharp as it should be. But let me tell you, this thing is thin and slicey. It annihilated that rope. And it did really well. I mean, awesome on the cardboard slicing. It definitely wants to go through cardboard. Just that tip might be a little bit dull. And I think that's what's causing. There's probably some just dirty spots on the paper cutting because it did fine during the week when I did some cutting. And maybe just, I've worn it a little bit dull. But it's definitely a cutter and it definitely wants to slice. So, guys, give me a thumbs up and let me know what you think of this guy down in the comments. And again, the Qvist Variant PE. Hopefully these will be back in stock soon for those of you that are interested. And I hope you enjoy my thoughts on it. And thanks so much for watching the KnivesFAST channel.